Anton Daniels and his co-host Mally justifying the unaliving of a 14-year-old child. Recently, I came across another story about the death of a young black child, a 14-year-old boy named Cyrus. I haven't followed every detail of the case closely because honestly, I try to protect my mental health from constantly reliving black trauma. Every other week, it feels like there's another video, another funeral, another debate over whether a black child deserves compassion or condemnation. But this particular situation stayed with me because of the conversation surrounding it. I watched a panel discussion online hosted by Anton Daniels. There were several people on the panel discussing the situation, and almost immediately the conversation shifted away from the tragedy of a 14-year-old losing his life and toward criticizing the child himself.
Are we just completely ignoring the fact that a 14-year-old had a gun?
Because one of the biggest problems in our community is that many of us become comfortable publicly degrading black people, especially black youth, for entertainment, for attention, for money, and for validation. And what we fail to realize is this: when black people justify harm, humiliation, or the killing of other black people, we give everyone else the permission to do the same. It is one of the most dangerous things happening in our culture right now.
It was not, it was, I think it was self-defense. I think it's your son there. Why does he have a gun on him?
What?
In the beginning, he should have. And he was stealing. He was. Stealing. He probably put them back.
How do you know if he was stealing then?
It looked like he was trying to put some waters in his hoodie. And I understand how people don't think it was self-defense. Like if you actually heard that what was presented in court, it seemed like it was a spur of the moment, heat of the moment. Clearly, they're saying he had the gun that was in the photo on him when it happened. And I don't know why they ran out and chased him. I wouldn't have done it, but I can understand why they thought he stole something because it was something in his pocket. Okay. And then I'm sorry, you have a gun pointed at my child. I don't care how old you are. What is somebody supposed to do in that situation? Let him kill his son in front of him? Why does the little boy have a gun? Why are the parents in jail? They had to have the son of the store owner stayed on the call with 911 the entire time until the police got there. You could hear the father in the background saying, call the police, and trying to save the boy. I don't think he was trying to kill the boy. He was trying to defend his son.
Why did he stay in the store? I guess that's what I'm trying to have a heart. Like, I'm trying to understand.
It's his store, it's his merchandise. If he wants to chase after somebody he thinks stealing, I mean, I wouldn't do it, but...
And you protect it. If you want to say it's self-defense, you don't run after what you think you're in danger from. Like, you're not running after danger.
Words matter. Narratives matter. The way we speak about ourselves shapes how other people treat us. We were taught as children, sticks and stones could break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's not true. Words can traumatize people. Words can dehumanize people. Words can normalize violence against people.
Why was he in there? He looked suspicious. Why does little boy have a gun? Are we overlooking the fact he got a gun on him? Why does he have a gun?
But words can also empower, heal, educate, and protect life. And we need to be more conscious about the language and the narratives that we spread about our own people. Take the word nigger, for example. That word was created during slavery and segregation to strip black people of dignity and humanity. But over time, especially during the hip-hop era, many of us normalized the word amongst ourselves. I did it too. I grew up in that culture. We used it constantly without really thinking about the long-term consequences. And eventually we became the gatekeepers of the word that we didn't even create. A word designed specifically to degrade us. The lines had become blurred. Latino kids growing up around us heard us using the word and began using it too because they felt connected to the culture. I grew up in East Harlem. around Puerto Rican and Latino friends who were part of our everyday lives. Back then, when we used the word, I didn't view it as hatred because we all grew up together. But from the outside looking in, other groups start asking, if black people could use it and Latinos could use it, why can't we? And eventually society began trying to erase the historical weight attached to the word entirely. That's what happens when harmful language becomes normalized. And this same rule applies to how we speak about black life in general. When we constantly portray black people as criminals, animals, thugs, or disposable, even jokingly, other groups absorb those narratives too. When black commentators publicly justify violence against black people, other people feel justified in doing the same.
Now, I might not agree with Mr. Child chasing the boy and shooting him in Timbuktu, okay, wherever the fuck it was. But here's the crazy part. If you had disciplined your boy right, he wouldn't be in someone's store trying to steal 50 cents bottle of water in the first place, okay? Not only that, you go and attack the attorney defending his clients. And then here's the truth of the matter. Your people, there are 7 black jurors who found your kid responsible, making
That's not true from what I understand.
Mr. Chow, okay, not guilty because they understand your culture, your mentality. You failed your kid. Your society failed your kid. Your mentality failed your kid. That attitude failed your kid. Now, if you can't reflect on that, and if you can't understand and take accountability for your failure, this will continue. More black kids are going to die. Your community.
Listen to what she's saying. She's out here sending dog whistles to her community. More black kids are going to die. See, watch that. Watch that language. Because she's signal boosting the message. See, they want to target our kids. This is why we ain't playing no games with these folks.
When we laugh at our own suffering, society learns to laugh too, and that has consequences. I learned this lesson personally as a child. One of the first fights that I ever gotten into happened because of something I said to my own sister. My sister is a beautiful black woman, but she had a darker complexion than me. And as a child, whenever I wanted to upset her, I would tease her about being dark-skinned because I knew it hurt her feelings. At the same time, I didn't fully understand colorism or self-esteem issues. I thought because I loved my sister, she knew I didn't really mean it. But the words still hurt her. And one day while we were walking home from school, I started joking on my sister again in front of my best friend. Then he joined in because I had opened the door for it. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember seeing my sister wipe tears from her face, and I immediately snapped. I punched him in the mouth, and he beat me up badly. I went home embarrassed, emotionally crushed, and confused. Later that day, my mother taught me how to fight. She didn't encourage violence, but she understood that I was trying to protect my sister. But the lesson stayed with me for life. When you publicly disrespect your own people, you indirectly give others permission to disrespect them too.
One of you failing in life, and then you want to blame everybody else. You see this whole Cyrus case and Mr. Chow? None of this would have happened if you raise your kids right. That little boy witnessed some of his business trying to steal water, okay?
See how they lie? She said he went in there trying to steal water. It has been proven that that boy didn't steal a damn thing. They're going to keep lying anyway. They try to do the I'm white and I say so. They're going to keep trying to lie anyway. He did not steal no water. This is why we don't need to rock with folks like that. He didn't steal a damn thing. It's been proven that he didn't steal anything.
That's exactly what we're doing as a culture. When black people justify the killing of black children, when we mock black suffering, when we constantly degrade ourselves online, when platforms profit from humiliating black people, when we blame the victims of gross oppression and discrimination. Other groups see that and feel more comfortable doing the same thing.
You people that is living in that black culture mentality, the poor victim mentality, thinking that people still owe you for reparation. Yeah, I'm the one talking to you.
Oh, they had to take a shot at reparations. I told y'all, man, this is why we don't have these folks on the reparations task force entities or nothing. These are the people that they'll put on a reparations task force. Boy, the thought of us getting our reparations, they know they're going to be useless because they know that their status is to be a buffer so that we don't get any resources. This is why they're always trying to tear down our reparations claims. All right, I wanted to throw that in there, but hold on, let me play the rest. She's telling.
And that's dangerous because black life is already vulnerable in the United States of America. Now, when I say vulnerable, I am not saying weak. Black people are among the strongest and most resilient people on earth. History proves that. Survival proves that. But strength and power is not the same thing. We are vulnerable because we do not control the systems that determine our quality of life. We don't control the economy. We don't control major educational systems. We don't control media institutions. We don't control policing structures. We don't control healthcare systems. We don't control banking systems. And because we do not largely control those institutions, we remain vulnerable to the narratives and policies created by others. That's why words matter even more for us. Now, regarding this particular case, one of the first questions people asked was, why did that 14-year-old have a gun?
Why is he walking around with a gun casing the store? That boy was in that store for at least 20 minutes or longer before he even ran out.
And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But the reality on the ground is more complicated. Being a young black male in many neighborhoods in the United States is dangerous. I work with young people directly through mentoring and violence prevention work. I want guns out of the hands of young people. I absolutely support intervention programs and anti-gun violence initiatives. But I also understand why many young boys feel the need to have weapons. A lot of these young men are growing up surrounded by violence, fear, trauma, and instability. They see other young men carrying guns. They see shootings. They see death. So many of them adapt a survival mentality. It's better to get caught with it than caught without it. That mentality didn't appear out of nowhere. And this is where victim blaming becomes dangerous. Instead of asking, what are the conditions that created this environment? What resources are missing? How do we intervene before tragedy happens? People rush straight to condemning the child, and that helps nobody. Now let's be clear. Violence in our community is a responsibility that we must address. But we have to be honest about history. Generations of poverty, addiction, underinvestment, mass incarceration, trauma, broken educational systems, and economic neglect all played a role in shaping many of these environments. During the crack era alone, entire neighborhoods was devastated. Some people used drugs to escape hopelessness and depression. Others sold drugs because legitimate economic opportunities were almost non-existent. None of that excuses the behavior, but understanding cause and effect matters. You cannot traumatize communities for generations, then act shocked when dysfunction appears afterward. Every action has an equal but opposite reaction. Yet some people ignore all of the realities because blaming black people has become profitable. Some personalities online build entire platforms around criticizing black communities while offering no real solutions and absolutely never putting their feet on the ground. Meanwhile, people like myself are actually outside working with young men. I mentor them, I train them, I connect them with jobs, I connect them with opportunities. I help with workforce development. I help teach dispute solutions and emotional discipline. I am not afraid of these young men because I used to be one of them. I caught my first gun charge at 12 years old. I know what survival mode feels like. A lot of people online speak about black youth from fear and distance. It's easy to sit behind a camera and criticize people you don't understand. But many of these young men and women are carrying trauma most adults would collapse under. Now, another thing people keep saying is, where were the parents? Again, more victim blaming. Parents in struggling communities are often struggling themselves. Many are working long hours. Many are stressed. Many are dealing with trauma and economic pressure. And once children leave the house, parents cannot control every environment their children enters. Young people are shaped heavily by what surrounds them. And what surrounds many of these children is violence, fear, hopelessness, addiction, social pressure, and survival culture. Children adapt to the environments that they grow up in. That doesn't mean that parents have no responsibility. Of course they do. But blaming parents alone oversimplifies a much deeper social problem. I've watched young men genuinely try to change their lives. I've helped prepare them for work and job interviews. Then I've watched them go through rejection after rejection while trying to survive environments filled with violence, drug abuse, verbal abuse, and instability. Some of these young men were homeless. Some are trying to survive while supporting family members. Yet people online act as if success is just simply about trying harder. Now, regarding the actual event itself, from what I understand, the young man reportedly picked up some bottles of water, put them back, attempted to show he didn't steal anything, and left the store. The store owners followed him outside and started chasing him. And this is important. Once you chase someone outside the store, you are no longer simply protecting your own property. The situation escalated beyond that. Reports claim that the young man displayed a firearm while running, but he was also reportedly shot in the back and never fired his weapon. And if someone pulls out a weapon but continues running instead of shooting, that suggests fear and panic more than aggression. But instead of discussing de-escalation or prevention, most of the conversation became about justifying the killing. That's what disturbed me. Because once black people normalize the justification of black death, society follows our example. And eventually everybody feels comfortable devaluing black life. This includes people outside of the community. People recognize that black suffering often receives less empathy, less urgency, less protection in the United States of America. And when society repeatedly communicates that black life carries less value, some people begin believing that they can harm black people and justify it afterward. At the same time, we also have serious internal problems we must confront honestly. We have black people harming other black people. We have trauma reproducing trauma. We have cycles of violence repeating generation after generation. But the answer is not more humiliation. The answer is building mentorship programs, building businesses, building schools and educational support systems, building economic opportunities, building mental health resources, building dispute resolution programs, building stronger communities and stronger families. Real power comes from institution building and economic independence. If we truly value black life, then we must stop normalizing black death, whether physically, culturally, emotionally, or verbally. We need to stop killing our own people. We need to stop celebrating our own destruction. And we need to stop giving other people permission to devalue us by publicly devaluing ourselves. Because when we justify the harm against our own people, everyone else feels justified doing the same. And that has devastating consequences. So with that said, I'm going to draw this video to a close. Stay strong, my people. Protect your minds. Protect your communities. and keep building for the next generation. If you want to support the work we're doing through the at-risk movement, including mentoring, workforce development, and violence prevention efforts, visit www.atriskmovement.com. Peace and blessings. The psychology of freedom. What is freedom? Is it simply the absence of bars and chains? Or is it something deeper? The psychology of freedom takes readers inside the walls of prison to explore a profound truth. A person can be physically free, yet mentally imprisoned, and physically confined, yet mentally and spiritually liberated. Through lived experience, the psychology of freedom reveals how correctional institutions shape behavior, relationships, and identity, not only for prisoners, but for families, communities, and society as a whole. Discover the hidden psychological effects of incarceration, the pathologies that can outlast a prison sentence, and the mindset shifts that can transform adversity into opportunity. This is more than just a book about prison. It's a book about reclaiming the mind. The Psychology of Freedom by G.S. Brooks. Available now on Amazon.com. Because true freedom begins within.